Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Learn to Code with Noob. So today in this video we will cover another concept of mobx-state-tree, which are views. So mobx-state-tree views. Today we will cover that. Alright, so let's jump right in. So before covering the mobx-state-tree views concept, I will just go through the setup which I have to explain this concept. So it's a pretty straightforward concept. So right now I have a to-do MST store. So when I'm saying MST, it basically means mobx-state-tree. So MST store, one is to-do, which represents one to-do model, and the other one is to-do list, which holds an array of to-do. So and those who have seen my previous video, they have already seen the setup of both to-do list and to-do store. So pretty basic stuff. And to-do has like two actions: change task name, change completion status, and to-do list has one action: remove to-do. So in this to-do store, now I have one more thing, which is views. So I have defined these views on my to-do list store. So what are views used for? So views are used for basically they are used for to derive the fact or derive any data from the store value. So for example, you have a current state. So right now it has like two views. One is visible to do count computed, which basically what it's deriving is, hey, how many to do items are there whose status is not completed, right? And I have another view which is doing the same thing. So why I have two views which are doing the same thing, I will tell you about this later, why I have these two things. But for now, just see that there is a concept in the MST called views, in which you can define a view which is eventually deriving data or deriving a state from the actual state of MST or mobx-state-tree. Now there are some things which you need to make sure when you are actually defining views. So if you see in this views, I'm basically deriving that a number, right? I'm basically deriving a number which says, hey, these are the items from this to-do array which has incomplete status, right? Has incomplete status. So, but I am not changing anything. So I am basically not like removing an item from an array or something like that. So these are like pure functions, right? So so now I will also explain like what are the two types of views which you can have in MST. So I have already explained views are also called derived values. So basically we are deriving a value from MST. And so views are of two types. So one is with arguments, right? And the other one is without arguments. So when I'm saying with arguments, so you can actually have an argument in here, right? You can say, I don't know, number or something, right? Which is actually a number. And so now you have a view with arguments, right? So basically you have two views. One is with arguments, one is without arguments. So usually the one which is without arguments, these are like computed values. So computed values is actually a concept of mobx on which MST is built upon. Okay, so what is So now what is the actual use of computed values? All right, so before explaining this, I will also explain this setup which I have. So basically I have a to do X list array, right? And you can see in this array I have three to dos: to do 1, to do 2, to do 3, right? And I have just did a map, and I am displaying each to do item in this fashion. So you can see over here I have a to do 1, right? And I have two switches. So it's kind of a weird UI, but don't pay attention to the UI, just pay attention to the concept which I'm explaining. So the first switch, what this does is the first switch changes the status of this item. So when it is when I check this switch or turn on this switch, it means that status is completed, which I am doing right here. You can see when I'm doing on value change, I am going to my to do, fetching the item from the store and hitting this change completion status action, right? So here I'm changing the data. And the other switch is, I might have used button over here, but I am using a switch. It literally doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. um, you know what, for just not to confuse all of you guys, I will change it to button, and I will have a title of this button as change name, something like that. And I have on value change to on press. Alright, so I have a button now which basically changes the name of this to do item, right? And what I'm doing to change the name is I basically prepend word blah. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And when I do a map, so since I have three to do items, it will display to do 1. This is a section, same for to do 2 and to do 3, right? Now when I actually do show count, it will hit on press, and I have a use state hook tied up into it, which will toggle this flag should show count. And what this will do is it will show you a text with two values. So let me just click over here. So now you can see, like, I have a to do count computed. So it basically is showing, so this is the value 3. It is displaying the first view, and this is displaying the second view. So when I'm saying first view and second view, so first view is visible to do count computed, right? And the second is visible to do count uncomputed. So why I am displaying both of the values, if they both are same, I want to show you some difference with both of these views, like what is the actual difference. All right, so now you understand what is the actual setup. Now I will show you what is the difference in both of the views. Okay, so let's go to the terminal. So I will just open a terminal over here, and what I'll do is I will just do a refresh so that you guys can basically see the new logs. All right, so when I actually press on show count, now you can see both computing and uncomputed called. So they both of the views are getting called right now, right? And they are displaying the values, which is fine, which is what we expect. Now as soon as I toggle this to do completion status, so I have completed now one to do, right? So now you can see both computing and uncomputed called, right? So both of the views are getting called, because they're kind of listening to, okay, now what is the completion status. So they are re-rendering the component and they are both computing the value, right? Now I have two to-dos which doesn't whose status is not completed yet, right? Now I am again doing the same thing with to-do. Again, both of the views are getting called and it shows 1, which is fine. Now I will do something different this time. So now I will do like change name, right? So as soon as I change the name of to, see what happens. So now uncomputed called. So now only one view is getting called, right? But the other view, it's not getting called. So only this view get called, but this view didn't. So now you can see like this view, they both, like if you see how I am computing the value, it basically depends on the completion status, right? So if completion status is actually changing of a to-do item, then it should compute, right? But this view is getting called, but this view is not. So the reason behind that is like this is defined as a getter function, but this is not. So when you basically mark a function as a getter, you are telling mobx that this is a computed value. So mobx basically treat this as a computed value, and what that means is it is smart enough to figure out, hey, if there is a change in the completion status, then only I will compute it. If there is no change in the completion status, then I will not. So when I'm actually changing the name, there is no change in the completion status. So that's why this view is not getting called, but this view will get called every time because it is not a computed value. So therefore it doesn't have that caching point, right? So now what I will do right now is I will again go to my terminal, right? 902, and again I will change the name. Now you will see like only uncomputed is called. Now as soon as I again toggle the completion status of this, now you will see both of them are getting called and the value is getting changed, right? And if I do again change name, right, they are displaying the same value, but uncomputed one is getting called. So yeah, so this was the concept of what are views, how you can use views, and if you want to use views more effectively, you can use it by computed values. All right, that's pretty much it. Keep watching.